This is the raw truth of having $1,000 to $5,000 days as an 18-year-old entrepreneur. My name is Patrick Thomason. Yesterday, we had yet another $1,000 day, and actually it was 2,500 in contracts, so a 997 and a 1497, so roughly about 2,500. As far as cash collected goes, it was a $1,000 day yesterday, flat. We already have the instant payouts on Stripe, so it already hit my bank account. But then also $5,000 days too. We just landed a $5,000. He was a growth operating client, which isn't even my niche. I think it was a week and a half ago. And that payment recently was deposited into my account. And so we've had quite a few of these $1,000 days, these contracted days. And honestly, the raw truth is it doesn't feel like anything compared to the amount of work that you're putting in. So let me kind of dive into this really quickly. The amount of time spent in front of the computer, as far as like dealing with the inbounds go, appointment setting, as far as outbounds as well, because I'm still doing some outbounds. As far as like the quantifiable amount of work, the amount of hours that you're putting in behind the computer, or in front of the computer, you should say, and even in front of the camera as well, doesn't feel like it's a huge payoff compared to the amount of money that you're getting. So like, I think honestly, if I were to make, I'd probably say $4,000 or $5,000 consistently a day. Obviously, we're not there yet. I'm not making $4,000 or $5,000 every single day for 60 days straight. I'm not doing that just yet. I think at that point, maybe it would be a little bit more reasonable with the amount of time that I'm actually putting in. But then again, we have to understand that progress is progress. 6 months ago, I would have jumped off a freaking like bridge if I figured out that I was making this much money, like in a good way, like joyfully, not anything like that. I would have been super happy if my 6 month in the future self told myself 6 months ago that I was making consistently contracting like, $1,000 almost every single day. I'm booking in right now about 2 to 5 appointments roughly. Yesterday I took 5 sales calls. Today I have 1 or 2 lined up, I'm pretty sure. I know I have 1 for sure, and I'm about to line up another one. But it's just a constant like appointment setting process for me, at least as of right now, because I don't have an appointment setter hired out. But that's another raw truth. I'm kind of just manhandling it as I go. And I'm going to get to that. Hopefully, I'm going to get to that 30 to 50K a month in profit, take home, pure profit, cash collected, run rate. And then kind of see what I can do as far as appointment setting goes, things like that. Mainly because of the fact that I don't want to hire somebody out when I'm not even fully confident about knowing it like the back of my hand. When you hire somebody and you train somebody, you really have to make sure that like that you know the service, you know the job description, you know what everything entails like the back of your hand. Because the last thing you want is your employee having to figure things out on the go and you don't know how to guide them because you haven't done it yourself. So that's why I'm spending as much time as possible in the trenches and seriously just becoming the best person ever to run this, really understand how things are going. So the second raw truth is that sales becomes second nature. So when I hop on these Zoom calls, it doesn't really feel like I'm selling. It just honestly feels like I'm talking to an old friend of mine and we're just kind of just chatting it up. It's been a while. I don't know everything about him because life has gotten in between us. And it sales just kind of feels like I'm just talking to like an old buddy. And then at the very end, I ask the old buddy for a favor in exchange for something else that I do for him. And so like sales really becomes second nature, especially when you're taking like I said, 1 to 5 sales calls a day very consistently. You have a proven system built out as far as outbounds go, and then inbounds go, and content goes, and everything else. It really just kind of becomes like, okay, wow, like we have a call here. I used to get really nervous for sales calls, like very antsy. I would always have the framework, pulled up on my MacBook, and I would just be like kind of scrolling through it, making sure my eyes weren't looking everywhere. But now just kind of like flow with it. I mean, just talk to them, just be a person. And so that being said, that's kind of the second point. Third point I have, third raw truth is that you got to be able to celebrate small wins. You know what I mean? I do a lot of writing out the same thing over and over again. A lot of people call it scripting. A lot of people call it manifesting. I write stuff out and it really helps me kind of just visualize it in my head and have it written down like in stone. So I'll write like, I did blank, 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 or I did blank, 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 even though it hasn't already happened yet, but I'll just write it as if it already happened. That way it gets ingrained in my head and I think that it already happened. You just kind of like, I don't really know. It helps out writing down writing down your goals in the past tense as if they already happened, helps your brain sort of just rewire itself. That's a trick that I've been using for a really long time. It's another raw truth that I can share is that you have to be able to write down your goals in the past tense. If you can't do that, that means you don't think you deserve your goals. Like if you can't write down that you made that 10K a month because it's just so unfathomable in your head, you can't even put it down on paper, you're probably never going to get to $10,000 a month with your business because you think it's this unfathomable feat that's so far away and, you can't even think of it in your head. And so honestly, making this like amount of money it's good. I like it. But as far as buying back my time, I have realized that a lot of my time has just been spent like behind the computer, which is okay in the early days. I don't want it to always be like this. Yeah, nevertheless, we're celebrating our goals. I'm just, obviously going as I'm going, putting one foot in front of the other, kind of blindlessly acting. We have two onboarding calls tomorrow, clients that already paid, and we're just going to get them onboarded and we're just going to work with them very closely. And then, so now we're really going to be heading to sort of the thick of the forest here. It's going to be a lot of like the client fulfillment as well as top of funnel outreach, top of funnel inbounds, and appointment setting and closing. So I'm probably about to get pretty busy here. But I will keep up with the YouTube videos. With that being said, that's kind of the raw truths. And yeah, build out systems, make your business easier, learn sales like the back of your hand, become really good at it through repetition. And I promise you, if you celebrate the small wins, and if you honestly understand that getting to the place where you want to be isn't that hard, you can have these payouts, you can have these days, you can have these opportunities walk into your life. So that being said, that's kind of the raw truth. My name is Patrick Thomason. I'll catch you guys in the next one.